Tuesday was RGV Day at the state capitol, and joining us on 710 KURV to tell us how it went, the powerful yet merciful mayor of McAllen, Jim Darling. Jim, welcome to the show. I got to ask you this, Jim, because I saw the picture in the Rio Grande Guardian of all the Valley leaders standing with the lieutenant governor. Okay, so Dan Patrick says the National Guard, no, it's going to stay there for a few more months. What's your reaction, Jim?
Well, we went up there and we kind of said that we thought the TPS did a more direct job in relationship to the mission, and so hopefully they'll see that and go with the TPS president.
That still seems to be the plan, though. Do you think that perhaps Dan Patrick is keeping some National Guard on the border as we segue to the larger DPS presence? Because some of these guys still need to be transferred or trained, or they probably need to hire a few more people before they bring them down here. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think they don't want to get too thin anyplace else today. So I think everybody understands that it's more of a transition rather than anything else.
How did RGV Day go for the contingent up in Austin?
Well, it's fantastic. And that's the first time we had RGV Day ever, and so we had Brownsville, Mission, Bar, McAllen, Edinburgh, and other cities up there, school districts, universities. So it really was well represented, and we broke into, I think, 20 different groups and hit the Capitol pretty hard. Hopefully I think the impression was, number one, is that we're up here together as a valley, and number two, then specific items that we dealt with.
What did the contingents tell Austin lawmakers that the RGV needs from them this session?
Well, one of the most important things we talked about is border security, and that a safe border is not a closed border, and so we need to also got National Guard and those kind of things to work with the federal government, make sure our bridges flow pretty freely and they're safe but not closed. Well, talk about transportation needs. If you go any place else in the state, you can see the highway systems are better than we have in the valley. So I think that was the general theme, and then educational opportunities. And I think companies had some specific things. For instance, it's kind of funny, we asked the state to give us money to give the federal government to help us with produce crossing the bridge, but that's the way life is nowadays.
Joining us on 710 KURV, Mayor of McAllen, Jim Darling. We're talking about RGV Day. That took place yesterday at the state capitol.
Mayor Tim Sullivan here. And back to the National Guard for a moment. The announcement by Dan Patrick, which certainly got the attention of a lot of folks in the Valley yesterday, because Patrick's comments appear to run counter to the plan that's been outlined by Governor Abbott and former Governor Perry. The plan, I think, was to have the soldiers gone by next month and DPS troopers taking their place. Did Patrick speak out of turn?
Well, no, I don't think he feels he spoke out of turn. I think there's some competition going on to see who's the more conservative, and so I think that's a result of that fallout. But I know, we had people come down the valley. I thought when the 21 congressmen came down from the federal government, they got a real picture on that. They were preaching fence, and if you get in a helicopter, you realize fence doesn't work for many reasons. One of which is for everybody that believes in property rights, you're going to infringe on a lot of those property rights.
Exactly.
So
yeah, good point.
I think if we got more local state reps and state senators come down the valley and really see what's going on, I think they would have a different opinion.
Well, what is it that is not allowing Dan Patrick to, see our point of view here, which, I think we live here. I think we have the correct point of view. Why can't he see it?
I don't think it's just him. I think it's the Tea Party people up in North Texas see it differently, and that's why I wish they'd come down and take a look at really what's happening. And we talked about that with a couple of representatives that said, we want to give you money for marketing, but we realize state policy is hurting us from an economic standpoint because people up north think we're in a war zone. And then we talked to Representative
Mike McCall?
Yeah, McCall up in Washington.
Okay.
And, I had a really nice talk with him for about 45 minutes, and I think he's leaning towards technology doing it. And I think when he came down, he saw fences don't necessarily work, and having an armed presence all over the place doesn't work because of
you need to put him in touch with Dan Patrick and get his mind changed here too.
And it's a good thing that you and others are in their face and in their ear and in their mind, and that's probably that is what's necessary to continue this conversation. Let's go back to economic development. Jim Darling, Mayor of McAllen, joining us on 710 KURV. It was RGV Day up at the state capitol. The governor's cookie jar has been mentioned before as a potential incentive to lure industry to the area. Did you have that conversation with our new governor, Greg Abbott, about his potential cookie jar or any incentives the state might send this way to lure some industry to the area?
Yeah, we didn't talk to the governor directly. We talked to members on the staff, and the governor's, I think, fully committed to the valley. And when he came down there and said that, I really believe he on it. And so, when the opportunities come, they said, present this to us, we'll take a look at it. So, they came through with SpaceX, I think, and so hopefully I don't know if we'll ever do that. Hopefully we could land a automobile plant, but they've been in the new automobile plant in.
Or it'd be nice for Brownsville to land a big plant like that, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You take a look at. I did something the other day. We had started a new call center. It's really not a call center; it was a help desk center, if you will, and pretty good jobs and everything. And so we employed the first 100 people. And I said, "How many lived in McAllen?" And three out of the 100 did. So that economic development is good for the whole valley, not any city. So I bring glad jobs. People in McAllen work there, and so I think people understand that what's good in Brownsville is really ultimately good for everybody.
So who are you riding back with, Jim? Who's giving you a ride back home?
Paul Moxley and Trey Pepley.
Who's driving?
Paul's driving. He's sleeping right now, so
yeah, he's got to sleep in late, so that way you guys can sleep in the rest of the way.
But the speed limit's 85 on 30, right on 35, 85. I told him 85. So
yeah, be careful.
Yeah, take that side route, and you can zip right on down here.
Yeah, they call him Mad Moxley. Leadfoot Moxley is another name for him, so be careful with Paul. All right, thank you, Jim. Jim Darling, Mayor of McAllen, joining us on 710 KURV.